Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we're doing something new on my channel, but not something new in the YouTube world. It's actually something I've seen popping up in the YouTube world more and more recently. For some reason it's been having a resurgence. We're doing a tier list today. Now, by no means is this an original content idea. However, I haven't seen many cereal tier lists. At least, I haven't seen them. That doesn't mean they don't exist. Not only that, I'm a very passionate person about cereal. I love cereal. It's one of my favorite foods. I don't eat it as much anymore because I'm very lactose intolerant, so it's lost a lot of its grandeur in my mind. But I still love cereal. I'm still very passionate about it, and I kind of wanted to hop on the tier list trend. I mean, why not? They're fun to do. People like watching them. I think it's a win-win, you know? Maybe I'll even go back and do like a fast food one or some other type of ones if you guys want to see some of those, or if I enjoy doing them. Like I said, it's a win-win. Why not do them? But we're going to start here. We're going to go through the rankings. S, obviously, just like any other tier list, that's the best of the best. Those are the legendary ones. You got good, okay, bad, and for this one, there's some don't knows. Obviously, I haven't tried every cereal ever, so I'm not going to have an opinion on that. But I have tried my fair share of cereals. Trust me on that. I have had a lot of cereal in my life. So I'm going to go through. We're going to rank them all. We're going to see. So first things first, I believe these are like apple or apple cinnamon Cheerios. I've never had them, so we're just going to start there. But the first real one, Cookie Crisp. Now, if you're a kid and you had Cookie Crisp, you were happy. Period. That's it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. You were happy about it. But the older I grow, the more I realize a lot of cereals aren't maybe as good as they used to be. And a lot of the cereals used to be bad, maybe are actually pretty good now. I think most people would agree with that. We'll get to a lot more of those later on. But Cookie Crisp is one of those ones that I thought was really, really good as a kid. And that every time we got, I was hyped. Because it's just cookies. You're just eating cookies in a bowl of milk for breakfast. Like, that's sick, especially as a kid. Like, that's your ideal kind of meal as a kid. Cookies for breakfast? Like, that's sick. However, as an adult, it's lost a lot of the effect. I'd much rather have, like, as kind of bad as it is to say, I'd much rather have, like, some eggs and bacon than I would have cookies for breakfast. All that being said, it's still good. It's still cookies, man. Like, they're still really good. Like, yes, they're not as the best cereal ever, but they're, like... Sometimes, even as an adult, you're like, damn, cookies for breakfast, bro? That might be the move right now. And in that case, get you a box of Cookie Crisp. They're good. They're good. Everybody likes them. You'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who, like, hates Cookie Crisp. It's just cookies. You don't hate cookies. Maybe you don't want to eat it every day for breakfast, but you can't hate on it. That's for sure. Next up, Special K. This is what I was talking about. This is one of those cereals that, back when I was a kid, it's in the bad category. As an adult, however, it's okay. I mean, it's not the best ever. You know, some things could be improved upon. Different flavors of Special K are better than others. Like, I like the ones with the strawberries. I like the one with the almonds in it. You know, some are better than others. However, not bad. It's okay. It's okay. Not the best, but it's all right. Kicks, they're bad, man. They're bad. I think listen. We gotta agree on this. Kicks are not good. It was the cereal that if you got as a kid, you were disappointed. It's not even just okay. It's just bad. Like, there's not a lot of flavor. There's not a lot of sweetness. It's one of those healthy cereals that really, like, yeah, you can tell it's one of the healthy cereals. And it's just not good. However, if you're really, like, craving, and that goes for pretty much any cereal, actually. If you're craving one, it's gonna be good. And that's like what one of my favorite things about cereal is that even the ones that you may not like, A, other people can like them, and B, maybe you'll find one day you kind of just want it and you eat it and it's really good. However, Kix is just disappointing. It's just not good enough. Next up, Apple Jacks. This one, I thought for a second about putting in an S tier because I love me some Apple Jacks. However, it's one of the cereals that I find myself when I buy a box of, I don't really ever like completely finish the box, right? I have like those first like 4 bowls and then that's kind of it. After that, I'm kind of like, I'm Apple Jacked out for now. And then you kind of wait like 6 months and you're like, okay, maybe I'll have some Apple Jacks today. That sounds pretty good. It's good when it's good, but after it's good, especially like when you get towards the bottom of the box where you get a lot more of the dusty stuff, it falls off pretty hard. It's still good enough to be in good tier, but I can see why a lot of people don't really like it that much. Next up, Corn Flakes. Now this one holds a special place in my heart because I don't know if this was all Hispanic families growing up, but I grew up in a Hispanic family. The kind of cereals we had ranged a lot, but this one I had specifically at my grandmother's house a lot. She always had Corn Flakes and like one other box of cereal, and that other box could range from like Cheerios to Raisin Bran to whatever, but she always had a box of Corn Flakes. And if you were really in a pinch, you get you a bowl of Corn Flakes and you put a little bit of sugar in there, all of a sudden you have Frosted Flakes, and man, it's good. I mean, Frosted Flakes are already good, you know that. Then Frosted Flakes are just Corn Flakes with sugar on them. So, you know, Corn Flakes with sugar, pretty good. But if we're taking away that aspect, if we're just ranking the cereal for what it is, even with the nostalgia factor, I think Corn Flakes are okay. I don't think they're the worst cereal ever. They have some uses. I know people use them in cooking sometimes. I don't really know if I would ever do that or if I would really ever eat things with that. But, you know, at least it's one of the only cereals you can say that for. It's got multiple uses. When you're looking for a more healthy cereal that has like at least some flavor to it, Corn Flakes, not a bad option. I will say though, it is one of those cereals, you gotta eat that bitch quick. You gotta eat it quick. If you eat it too slow, ooh, those flakes, when they're soggy, not good. When they're crunchy and it's pretty fresh, and maybe not fully crunchy, but like pretty good, they're good. But when they're soggy and they start falling apart, the flakes just, ooh, that's not the move. That's not the move. Next up, never had this one before, but after that, regular Captain Crunch. Regular Captain Crunch, it's okay. If you don't want something too sweet, regular Captain Crunch, not a bad option. But the thing that holds it back from being good is, and I don't know how many people will relate to this one, when you eat Frosted Flakes, or excuse me, when you eat Captain Crunch, is when you eat Captain Crunch enough, it like tears the roof of your mouth up because it's got some very sharp corners on it and stuff, and just overall the cereal is very, it will tear your shit up if you're not careful. So that for me drags it from being good to just okay. But if you're looking for something not the sweetest but not the healthiest, I think this is probably one of your better bets. It's not too sweet, but it's also not like the Kicks and like the Raisin Bran out there that are like super healthy and like lose that sense of like cereal. It's still cereal. It's still sweet. It's still sugary, but it's not too much, I think. Next up, Rice Chex. This is the main perpetrator of one that when I was young, did not like. However, as an adult, I will eat this any day of the week. Especially like the different flavors. My favorites being the chocolate one. It's just so good. For some reason, I don't know why as a kid I hated it so much, but it's good. I can't find really too much bad to say about it. The only bad thing I could say is that because it has a lot of flavors, some of them not so good. The original Rice Chex, mediocre. Chocolate, amazing, but like some of the other ones just aren't good. So it balances out to be just good but not great. Next up, peanut butter Captain Crunch. Now, I love peanut butter. Let that be known. I'm a peanut butter stan. However, peanut butter Captain Crunch, it's not good, man. It's not. It's trying to be what Reese's Puffs already is, minus the chocolate. So it's even worse. The peanut butter cereal quality is worse than Reese's Puffs, and it doesn't have like the chocolatiness of the Reese's Puffs. They're just not good. I would rather have any other type of Captain Crunch than the peanut butter ones. I don't know why that is. It's just too much, honestly. Or when you're eating cereal, I don't think, at least for me, I want to be basically eating globs of peanut butter that are crunchy. I could just go eat peanut butter with a glass of milk, and I would enjoy that more than the Captain Crunch. It just doesn't add enough to what that already is to make it a good cereal. So that's why I personally think it's pretty bad. Now, next, Honey Bunches of Oats. This might surprise some people. It's S tier, man. Oh man, this is even as a kid, I was one of the only kids that was like, Honey Bunches of Oats, pretty good. They're good, man. Like, I literally have a box in my pantry right now of the one with the vanilla and almond. They're really good. It's Honey Bunches of Oats does what it's supposed to. It's got that crunchiness, it's got the health benefits of it, but it still is cereal. It still tastes like a bowl of cereal, and it's still really good without being overly sugary, without being too strong of a flavor. It's just like the perfect bowl of cereal. It's so good, and people underrate it so heavily for some reason. Next up, Rice Krispies. Rice Krispies on their own are not good. However, Rice Krispie treats and the homemade Rice Krispie treats that you can make with Rice Krispies, amazing. But as a cereal, it's not that great. It really isn't. I haven't had a bowl of Rice Krispies and I don't even know how long, because at the best, even at its best, like when you're craving Rice Krispies, it's just an okay cereal. It's just not that good. It's not, and that's okay. Sometimes cereals and food in general can just be used in better ways, and I think Rice Krispies is a good example of that. It's much better if it's just a Rice Krispie treat. I don't need the cereal. It's just not necessary. Next up, I think pretty much everyone will agree with this. Yeah, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is an S tier cereal. Everybody and their mother loves Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's cinnamon, sugar, milk, and some like toasty bits. Like, you can't get better than that. Everybody knows cinnamon sugar is like one of the best combos out there. Cinnamon Toast Crunch does the ratio so well. Even, it's one of the only cereals, personally, because like I said, I'm lactose intolerant. It's one of the only cereals out there I'll drink the bowl of milk too, because it's that good. I don't even care about the repercussions. It's just that good. It's one of the best cereals. It's one of the ones people like the most for a good reason. You may not find it the best. Some people don't like cinnamon. If you don't like cinnamon, yeah, you're not gonna like it. But man, I'd be hard pressed to put it anywhere but S. You ask random people on the street what their favorite cereal is, I guarantee at least 50% are saying Cinnamon Toast Crunch. There's a reason for that. People don't hype things up that much for no reason at all. It's good for a reason. Next up, Frosted Mini Wheats. I think they're pretty good. I think it's another underrated cereal. I used to have this one a lot back in like middle school and high school. I don't know why. My mom just bought a lot of Mini Wheats, so I tended to have that for breakfast. But it's good. It's one of the, I wouldn't say it's healthy, but it's one of the healthier in comparison to some of the ones that we're going to come across here in a little bit, especially, and even more so than some of the ones we've already had, like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's healthier. Personally, I think it's pretty good. I mean, the frosting obviously is the best part. Other than that, it's just like it's a wheat cereal. That part's not the best. But the frosting actually really does take it up a level. It works well with the milk, despite the fact that you would think it wouldn't. It would be like a flake situation where once it gets soggy, it's not really good. When it gets too soggy, it's not good. But overall, Mini Wheats in general, I think they're pretty good. I think they're pretty good. Honey Nut Cheerios are okay. I think it's one of those cereals I personally have to be in a mood for to eat. But when I'm in the mood, it hits the spot. But other than that, if I'm not really in the mood, but I need like a quick meal, I'll eat a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios. It's not the worst thing in the world. They're better than regular Cheerios, but not one of the great cereals ever, you know. They're just okay. Next up, Reese's Puffs. They're okay. I mean, they're good, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not the best. They're good, and if you want a peanut buttery type cereal, this is what you get. Don't even bother with this. Just get Reese's Puffs. The balance of chocolate to peanut butter is good. The actual quality of like the peanut butter and chocolate taste is good. It's a good cereal. It has the best cereal ads in my opinion. I mean, everybody knows the Reese's Puffs cereal song from that one commercial that we've all seen. It's good. The branding's good. The cereal's good. It's up there for a reason. It is some people's favorite. It's not my personal favorite, but it's pretty good. Next, I don't even know. Rice Krispies Treats? I don't know what that is. I've never had that one, so we'll go past that one. Actually, let's just eliminate all of the ones that I haven't had real quick. I've had Honey Smacks, but it's been so long that I don't think I can rank them. There's 2 Raisin Brans, so I'm just going to put one of them there. And other than that, we should be fine. So next up, regular Cheerios. They're bad. If you are looking for a healthy cereal, I would probably suggest Cheerios above pretty much anything else, because like they are very healthy and they have a lot of different flavors for the healthier versions, like all the wheat kinds of Cheerios and stuff. And if you're into that, you're into that. I think that's mainly for people who maybe are older or have like heart problems. Obviously, that's like their whole branding thing for Cheerios. But if you aren't looking for a healthy cereal, but you just want a good tasting cereal, just buy Honey Nut Cheerios. They're just better in pretty much every way, unless you're looking for a healthy cereal. But Cheerios, they're not good. Like, they're just too bland to be really good. Next up, Lucky Charms. This used to be one of my favorite cereals. As time goes, however, I think they're just okay. They're very, very sweet. It's one of those cereals that like kids love. It's got marshmallows in it, you know, pretty good. But it's really sweet, and I tend to find myself as an adult swaying more and more away from those super sweet cereals that I loved when I was a kid. But overall, Lucky Charms, people like them for a reason. They do taste good. Just for me personally, I don't really want that much sweetness in my cereal anymore. So it falls down to just okay for me However, I can see why people would rank it higher. Next up, Cocoa Krispies. I gotta say, pretty good. I think Cocoa Krispies are just the absolute better form of Rice Krispies. I don't think you should ever buy a box of Rice Krispies unless you're making a Rice Krispie treat, but if you're looking for a pretty good chocolate cereal, Cocoa Krispies are a very good option. They have that snap, crackle, pop, obviously, that's like the saying, but they have that snap, crackle, pop of the Rice Krispies, but they just taste better. They have that good texture while tasting better. That's what you ideally want in a cereal. For me, the biggest downfall with a lot of the Krispies and Pebbles and all those kinds of cereals is just how soggy they get so quick. You gotta eat this bowl fast if you want it to be the best quality. When it starts to get soggy, it's falling off a lot. You put a bowl of soggy Cocoa Krispies in front of me, that's going down here with these guys. You put a fresh bowl of Cocoa Krispies in front of me, it's good. But you just gotta know going in, you gotta eat it pretty fast. If you don't, it's just not as good as it could be. Next up, Fruit Loops. A lot of people may not like this, but I like Fruit Loops. I know a lot of people for some reason don't, but I think Fruit Loops are pretty good. They're not the best cereal out there. They were another one like Lucky Charms where they used to be like one of my favorites, and as time goes on, they fall off a little bit. But you know, they're pretty good. Fruit Loops are popular, again, like the same like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They're popular for a reason. People like them for a reason. But if you're not really craving like a fruity cereal, they're not that good. And sometimes that like fruity, chalky kind of flavor that they get turns me off personally a lot. But I think they're still overall a good cereal. Next up, Raisin Bran. It falls into the same line with Cheerios for me, where if you're looking for a healthy cereal, go for it. But if you're not, they're kind of bad, let's be honest. They're just really not that good, especially for me because I don't even like raisins. I really don't. I personally would never eat Raisin Bran unless I was like in bad health standing. So for me, they just have to go in bad. Next up, Golden Crisp. It's okay. It's not the best cereal out there, but it's okay. I will also say it does make your pee smell like the cereal, which is kind of cool. If you're a kid, at least, I thought it was pretty cool. That was like the first food that I had ever had that had done that, where I was like, wow, that smells exactly like the cereal. But overall, they're pretty good. I used to eat them a lot when I was a kid, so I've always just had the same standing on them. For me, that's like the most obvious okay cereal that there is. It's not good, it's not bad, it's okay. Next up, Fruity Pebbles. For me, S tier, but on the condition that it's a new bowl. Like I've said it earlier with the Cocoa Krispies, this cereal gets soggy so fast. But when it's not soggy, personally, it is my favorite fruit cereal that there is. I think it does the fruit flavors really well. I think it does the texture really well. I think overall, it's an amazing bowl of cereal when you just eat it pretty quick. Because when it gets soggy, it falls down to that bad tier, just like Cocoa Krispies, just like Cocoa Pebbles will. It's just one of those cereals, when it happens, when it gets soggy, it's just not good. Which leads me to Cocoa Pebbles. I also think they're S tier. I think that's the best chocolate cereal that there is when it's fresh. But when it gets soggy, it's not good. But I do think both of them are still amazing when you get that first crunchy bite of that cereal. I think these might be the best cereals that there are when you get that first bite. But the more you eat the bowl, the further down they drop. Next up, going with the chocolate theme, Cocoa Puffs. They're good. It's another one of the cereals, a little too sweet for me as an adult. I find myself not really craving them as an adult. But if I want a chocolate cereal, I'm not going to be mad at a bowl of Cocoa Puffs. It's not the best ever, but it's not the worst. They're pretty good. I think it's the second best chocolate cereal after Cocoa Pebbles. And I think those two are far and away the best two chocolate ones. If you're going for chocolate, just get those. Frosted Flakes. We had this discussion a little bit earlier with the Corn Flakes, but I actually think they're about even with Corn Flakes at just being okay. It's not the best cereal ever, but it's pretty sugary. It's pretty flavorful, especially as a kid. You're gonna like it. As an adult, maybe not the best option ever. I don't know if I'd go out of my way to buy it, but I still like it pretty well. Next up, Captain Crunch Crunch Berries. Probably, in my opinion, the best version of Captain Crunch that you can get. I think the Crunch Berries add a lot to the original Captain Crunch that was missing from it. It is still sugary. It still messes up the roof of your mouth for whatever reason. But it adds that like fruity flavor to the original Captain Crunch that just elevates it to like a higher level. When you have more of those flavors mixing together, it just gets better in a bowl of cereal. And honestly, I've never had a bowl of Captain Crunch Crunch Berries and been disappointed. I would say they're good. I'd rank them above all the other Captain Crunches. Pretty good. Next up, this one's gonna be a little controversial because I know a lot of people don't like honeycombs, but I think honeycombs are an S tier cereal. I love honeycombs. Honeycombs are actually, I'm probably gonna put it right here, because I would say honeycombs are probably my favorite cereal. I don't know what it is, but I've had this since I was a kid and nobody really agreed with me. But the honey flavor mixed with the milk and like the crunchiness of honeycombs, it's just so good in my opinion. I love it. It's my favorite. I don't know why exactly. I just love honeycombs. I love that sweet flavor that it brings from the honey that is different from a lot of the other sugary cereals. Like, it's not gonna be like any of these ones here where it's only sweet because there's 1.5 pounds of sugar in every bowl. It's just sweet without being overly sweet. It's, for me, the perfect cereal. So that's why for me it's S tier, despite the fact that a lot of people tend to not like it as much as me. Trix, I think, is better than Fruit Loops. Probably the second best fruit cereal that there is. Most of these aren't ordered, just to be clear here. I just think it's a little bit better than Fruit Loops, so I'm putting it in front of it. We can order it. Why not? We'll order. I'd say probably here. Yeah, that's probably a fair list ordered up here. And these two top tiers here are organized. These ones aren't. These ones don't matter as much. But that's what I would organize these. I think Trix are just a little bit better than Fruit Loops if you're looking for a fruit cereal. They have that really strong fruit flavor without being like, I don't know. Fruit Loops just have this, like, I said it earlier, but kind of like a chalky taste to it after a while that like kind of turns me off of eating. Like, once you get to the bottom of the bowl of Fruit Loops, it's just not as good. But Trix has that same quality of fruit taste throughout the whole bowl, which is why I put it slightly above Fruit Loops. It's only second to Fruity Pebbles in terms of fruit cereal. It's still good. I know a lot of people don't really eat Trix as much anymore. I will say their ads were really good, but all of a sudden fell off for some reason. But Trix, I think, are good. Now, lastly, probably, in my experience, the most controversial take that I have, I think Pops are an S tier cereal, only behind Honeycombs. Honeycombs and Pops are my two cereals that I love for some reason, but other people don't. And I get it. Pops, for me, I love the taste of Pops. Like, I don't know why. I think that it has that same quality that Honeycombs has, where it's sweet but not like overly sweet while still having a pretty good flavor. That's why I like it, but I can understand why other people don't. It's another one of those cereals, when it gets soggy, it's not good. For some reason, they get stale like insanely fast. So if you're not going through a whole box pretty quickly, they get stale, and you don't really want to eat stale Pops. They're not good. So I can see why other people would not rank them high. But for me, I just love Pops. I think that balance of sweetness to like savoriness of Pops is just really good. It's my second favorite cereal. At one point in life, it was my favorite, but I think Honeycombs has it overtaken for now. But we'll see how that goes in the future. As of right now, this is where my tier list ends. This is where my cereals rank. If you guys disagree with me, that's okay. Don't make it a fight. Listen, we all have our opinions. No need to be rude or anything. This is just my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me. This is where I would rank cereals. Either way, whether you disagree or not, let me know in the comments down below. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, leave a like. Yeah, let me know your guys' opinions on the cereals down below. I would love to see where other people sit. I for some reason am very passionate about cereal, so I'd love to have some conversation as to what kind of cereals you guys like. Either way, guys, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like. Peace.